We are back. This is National Geographic Weekend. I'm Boyd Matson. Time for our Wow Chronicles segment, where I share some stories of my own travels with National Geographic. And earlier in the program, we were talking with Sarah Marquis about her great walking adventure. She's going from Siberia to Australia, a journey that's going to take her about 2 years, carrying everything on her back or what extra she has that won't fit in the pack. She's got a cart that she pulls along with her, towing the rest of the gear, all on foot, unsupported. It's an amazing journey. I don't know how she does it day after day for 2 years, because I did a walk a few years ago in the Gobi Desert, northwest China. It was part of an official event. It was called the Gobi March, and it was a 7-day race where we carried all of the supplies we needed except water that we got at checkpoints, and it went through near Dunhuang, out in the Gobi, northwest China, as I say. And it was nicknamed the Race of No Return because some of us thought we might not return from this little adventure. And it didn't even start well for us because a crowd had come out of who knows where in the desert to our starting point. If they lived anywhere nearby, so they were on foot, but a lot of motorbikes and some horses. And when the race started, they had marked the beginning of the trail to get us started on this path with signs every few hundred meters or so. Somehow, the people who came to watch the start of the race assumed that the signs would make good souvenirs. So they began, as they walked and left the start, pulling up the signs or driving by on their motorbikes and pulling up the signs and taking them home with them, which meant by the time we got to where the signs were supposed to be, there were no signs. So we started the race lost. This was an omen of things to come. And the race is 7 days, roughly 150 miles, essentially 6 marathons in 7 days, and you're carrying all this gear, so it's beginning to weigh down on you, and you're in the desert, and you're pounding. And I can relate, Sarah's doing, in her walk, she's doing 15 to 20 miles a day, so almost what we were doing. We were doing about 25 miles a day. And my feet began to take a toll just in the 7 days and got so sore that I could barely walk. And in addition, you're in a desert climate, so very dry. And there's some elevation, some up and down, and I am breathing with my mouth open, going, taking deep breaths. But two things happen. One, I've got my mouth so far open and kind of forcing my tongue out, pushing my lip down, the lower lip, that the inside of the lip is getting sunburned, which is no fun. And two, all of that dry air going over my throat. By the end of the race, I cannot speak above a hoarse whisper. And I don't mean I'm the hoarse whisperer. I mean I am hoarse and whispering. Hi, how are you? That's the way I'm talking. And I can barely walk. Now, Sarah's meeting with people as she goes along in villages and visiting with them, and if she gets to a place where they have some supplies, asking for things like some tea or sharing and trying to learn a little of their stories. I was going to do that at the end of my race. After it was all over, I had arranged to go meet one of the nomadic former Mongolian, now in China, this part of China, living in this region, to stay in his yurt with him and visit. I show up limping because I can barely walk, sunburned lips, and talking like this. He was a little scared. He wasn't sure. He thought the aliens had landed and come to visit him. So based on my little experience, that's why I'm saying hats off to what Sarah's doing. I know she's walking, but you won't believe what it's like to walk the way she's walking. And that wraps up the show for this time. Thanks for listening. This is National Geographic Weekend. Thanks to my producer, Ben Shaw. I'm Boyd Matson. Be sure and join us next time for another radio adventure.